to um, you've got to have a means of bringing the rocket back to the launch pad. You've got to have a fully reusable orbital heat shield, and that no one has ever made a fully reusable orbital heat shield. The space shuttle, for example, required 9 months of refurbishment between flights. So the space shuttle heat shield would come back essentially partially broken and would require many months of refurbishment in order to fly again. What we're trying to achieve here with Starship is to have a heat shield that can be flown immediately. So the ship, both the ship and the booster, would be caught by the tower arms, and the booster would be placed immediately back on the launch stand, and the ship's got to orbit Earth at least once, but then could be back potentially in one orbit, but in most cases several orbits.
They're going to orbit Earth.
So the ship would come back several hours later, but then be caught by the arms and placed on top of the booster. You could also have multiple ships ready so that a single booster could service 5 or more ships, so that you could be flying the booster in theory, every hour. This is kind of a profoundly fast speed, obviously, for the largest flying object by far ever made. But it's the reason why we catch the tower, we catch the booster with the tower arms, and the ship also will be caught with the tower arms, because that's the fastest way to get the booster and the ship back to flight. If we had instead put landing legs, which we have done before for the ship tests, we actually had landing legs that flipped down, and the ship we've successfully demonstrated landing with legs. But if you do that, if we were to do that with the booster and the ship, here we'd have to land somewhere else with the legs, then lift the rocket, stow the legs, transport the rocket back to the pad, which is very unwieldy when you've got a gigantic thing. Then it would be picked up by these tower arms and placed in the launch mount. That would delay the reusability dramatically and would add a lot of mass with the landing legs. So that's why we catch the rocket with the tower arms, because it's the same tower arms that put the rocket in the launch mount are used to catch the rocket.
This is why I actually started.
And that means that we can put the booster back in the launch mount in less than an hour after liftoff. In fact, the booster is going to come back very fast. Like, 5 or 6 minutes later, this booster is coming back one way or another, or not coming back.
Literally sparked on fire.
So then you really have propellant fill time, which can be brought down to about 30, 40 minutes, and that means it is theoretically possible to fly the booster again in less than an hour.
Yes. I think when I think about it, it's the jet drives up to the jetway, the people get off, new people get on, and it leaves. You don't want to land the jet on a different airfield and then tow it over to the jetway. So it's just operationally simpler and faster.
Yeah, we've had a lot of success with the booster, 3 for 3 on the catch attempts. When we bring it back, we've reflown one, so awesome. And then, again, Starship superpowers, the whole thing is reusable. So ship reusability is like what we're working on right now. We've been able to get some really spectacular reentries on a couple of flights, hoping to get this one for reentry on the V2 ship. But yeah, that fully reusable heat shield, that thing that has just never been done before, that's one of the things we're really looking for that data on.
Yeah, I mean, there are thousands of engineering challenges that remain for both the ship and the booster, but maybe the single biggest one is the reusable orbital heat shield.
I think they're going to do it today, personally.
In making a fully reusable orbital heat shield, but it will require many flights, many iterations to figure out where the weak points are in the heat shield, where we need to change the design, either strengthening the tile or changing how big the gap is between tiles, changing what's underneath the tile. There's a
Depending on how today goes, I think that it would be very reasonable to say that
with the ship
Flight
tiles,
11
the
could include the ship launch.
tiles. But the only way to know exactly what we should be adjusting is to fly repeatedly and be able to examine the ship upon landing. And we have successfully brought the ship back through the atmosphere and achieved a soft landing multiple times. So we know that this is possible, but we have in the process shed many heat shield tiles. So we need to be able to do this without shedding heat shield tiles, and do so repeatedly.
And I think what you're seeing now is the Starship. This is CG of it coming in and landing on the tower, much like the booster, but there's some additional challenges there where we need to make sure we don't scrape the tiles off as we slide along the chopstick
we can't
arms.
shuck the heat shield.
Don't crush the ship.
Rapid
Yeah,
reusability.
if we shuck the tiles, then that's obviously going to fail the reusability test.
So ships can use the tower to land and catch, like the booster here on Earth where towers are available. And for our initial landings on Mars and other planets, we'll need landing legs that deploy much like what you're seeing here with Ship 15 when we did our suborbital test to prove out the precision descent landing, which was a successful test. We actually landed to one was
so
it we were
cool.
able to actually
I
recover
actually
it. And
forgot about how
you can
long
see
ago
it
they
here in the
actually
Rocket
landed the
Garden if you
Starship
visit Starbase.
Yeah, so the Rocket Garden that Bill mentioned, we have actually a whole bunch of boosters and ships, and we'll be adding to them over time. So you can see an evolution of Starship just by driving down the highway.
Yeah. So reusability is key. There's some other technologies we're still looking to prove out. Really big one is going to be the on-orbit refilling. Looking to do that next year, and that's really what's going to kind of unlock, Starship going everywhere else, going everywhere beyond Earth. And that's something that's, again, never been done before, kind of like that reusable orbital heat shield, but it's going to be something that's kind of some of the other secret sauce to Starship, where we're going to be able to send hundreds of tons per ship to Mars.
Yeah, I like to think of it as if we get to orbit with a full cargo bay, but we're empty on fuel and oxygen. So basically, we're running on fumes. Then we send other ships to dock, transfer propellant, and now we made our two-stage rocket look like a many multi-stage rocket. And we get all of that performance. And we can take that full cargo bay now wherever we want to go.
Yeah, so a crucial technology that we hope to demonstrate next year is this orbital refilling, much like aerial refueling. It's essential for being able to send significant payload to Mars. So you essentially send a ship to orbit with a few hundred tons of payload, sort of a filled payload bay. But once it gets to orbit, the tanks will be mostly empty, and then you send up additional tanker ships to refill the Mars ship's tanks, so that it can thrust from Earth orbit to Mars and have enough propellant left for landing. So this is orbital refilling is also not something that's ever been demonstrated before. So that would be a brand new technology. We also
brand new
technology. Figured out how to dock repeatedly with the space station. So in a lot of ways, this is
crazy.
Like docking, and in some ways it's easier in that SpaceX is docking with its own craft, but no one has ever demonstrated propellant transfer in orbit, to the best of our knowledge, and so this would be propellant transfer at a very large scale. And but with full reusability and propellant transfer, those are the key technologies needed for building a city on Mars, and I'm confident that the SpaceX team, which is incredibly talented, will achieve these goals, and we will be landing ships on Mars in the future and building life on Mars.
Dude, 500,000 viewers just on SpaceX right now.
Ensuring the long-term survival of life as we know it.
This page,
and it's important to note here that obviously we are effectively stewards of life here on Earth. That the other creatures cannot build space.
This is important. I think people see that it's important. This is cool.
So if there were to be a cataclysmic event, like a giant meteor that destroyed the dinosaurs, or ultimately the sun will expand to envelop Earth and destroy all life, we know this is an undisputed fact. Then if we don't take life to another planet, life will be destroyed. So it's incumbent upon us to ensure that we do bring life to other planets and ensure the long-term survival of life as we know it on planet Earth.
And I mean, aside from that, there's so much that Starship unlocks by being able to do these things. Like, we'll be able to go to Mars, but there are other just transformational things by being able to take that many people, that much stuff to space for that much less money.
Yeah, I mean, I think understanding our planet better, being able to move people around the planet, make it feel smaller and more accessible. You could go anywhere on the Earth, in less than 40 minutes, basically, in terms of flight time. So I I really do see Starship as being this thing that can connect us, just like Starlink connects our information. This can connect us more physically.
Yeah. So there's really nothing faster than a rocket. Really, an orbital rocket is the fastest thing that we know of of the fastest means of transport. So, like you could go from LA to Sydney in less than half an hour.
Yeah.
You could go.
You just
LA
go
to
up
Tokyo,
and then
let
the globe rotate around you, and then
Singapore
just fall back
in
down.
half an hour. Everything's
Very cool.
probably half an hour, basically.
About a half hour, yeah. I'm sorry.
Some things might be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Hawaii,
sign me up for
10
that,
minutes.
please. All right, cool.
Across the Atlantic in 10 minutes, no problem.
Please, yes, sign
Well,
me up.
you're going 25 times the speed of sound, so that's 30 times faster than a commercial aircraft.
And it's a whole hell of a lot better view.
Yeah, it's a hell of a view.
Yeah. All right, cool. Anything else, guys? Anything else you're really excited about
we could
coming
say
out?
a lot more. I
Yeah.
suppose.
Maybe we should go check in on the rocket
Yeah.
and get
All
on
right,
console.
we're going to go back on console to hopefully the weather supports the launch tonight. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And
Right. I did hear 55%.
yeah,
All
thanks for
right.
your
55%
support.
right now.
Thanks
I don't know.
for
Let me
having
check
us.
for any updates right now.
Thank you, Elon. That was almost the same that I said. Beautifully here, and I'm fully behind this goal. This is
20
if
minutes.
It works. It would change humanity.
Okay.
It is just, it's something, and that's what I tried to explain in the 1.5 hours leading up to this.
All right, that was sweet. Let's turn our attention back to the rocket. So just checking in, we are about 19 minutes and change away from liftoff.
Let's go.
As I said right at the top, weather is going to be our primary concern. We were
Yeah.
tracking some mantle clouds. We're hopefully
Oh,
clearing that on the
man.
range soon. We are not currently tracking any hardware blockers to launch, but
Okay.
we'll continue to follow along. If anyone was following along yesterday, we actually didn't even get into our webcast as we had a leak on one of the hoses feeding the liquid oxygen into the ship through its quick disconnect. We were able to replace that this morning. Team did an incredible job, got us into an attempt today.
Well, that's good. That's
All
good.
right. Joining me now for the rest of the day is Amanda
Whatever.
Lee.
Everything's
Hi, Amanda.
it's complicated.
Thanks,
It's a
Dan.
test.
I'm super excited to be here. Let's just get right into it.
Yeah, a whole bunch has happened to get us to today's flight, our 10th flight test. Let's look back at Starship's 9th flight test in May. That did end with a rapid unscheduled disassembly on the ship and the
It blew
booster.
up. I saw it.
Flight
It blew
9
up.
marked the first reflight of a super heavy booster. We saw a successful stage separation and the first ever deterministic flip, which gives us extra performance. The reused booster was flown at
Wow.
a much higher angle of attack to push the envelope on capabilities, which ended up causing some internal structural failure.
Watching those
eventually
grid
leading to a rapid
watching those grid
unscheduled
fins really
disassembly
makes
at
me
Vancouver.
kind of understand how
Continued
fast that
its
thing is moving.
ascent.
That's
we did see pressure
crazy.
drop in its
You can
main
see
fuel
the air.
tank and rise in the nose cone. We just had a camera view. We actually caught the failure on camera in the fuel pressurization system. Ship was able to complete its ascent, though, achieved its planned velocity and second stage engine cutoff.
After that, though, we did run into some issues with attitude control, which led us to skipping the payload deploy and Raptor relay demos. Starship eventually re-entered the atmosphere in an off-nominal attitude, and communication was lost approximately 46 minutes into the flight test during entry, but of course not before one heck of a light show.
Yeah.
I
That
love their
booster run
vocabulary.
was caused by higher than predicted forces on its structure,
Off nominal.
specifically that internal fuel transfer tube, as we were doing a higher angle of attack experiment. To fix that for remaining flights with this version of booster, including the one behind us, we're just going to lower that angle of attack. We're relaxing those forces, and that minimizes the likelihood of structural failure.
And over on the ship side, we redesigned the part of the fuel pressurization system that failed on Flight 9, put it through a more rigorous test campaign, and after subjecting it to flight-like stresses, it did successfully run for more than 10 times the expected service life with no damage, so great test results.
So if I understand it correctly,
Through all of the objectives we set, but any result
Hold
that
on.
teaches us more about Starship
they're just gonna keep
performance
talking.
in the real-world environment helps us to make those targeted iterations and improve quickly.
Yeah, that's how SpaceX developed our first rocket, Falcon 1. That's the same philosophy we used to develop Falcon 9, which has passed 100 flights just this year and 500 flights overall.
Yeah, incredible milestone for Falcon. And again, the way they got there was to launch, learn, and repeat.
All right, so that wasn't the only thing that happened while getting ready for Flight 10. If you followed along, Ship 36, which was originally supposed to fly on Flight 10, experienced a major anomaly during a static fire test at our Massey's test site. It was in the process of loading
really
all of
getting
its
ready now.
cryogenic propellant to do a 6-inch
I think it's gonna
static
happen.
fire when we had a sudden energetic event that resulted in the complete loss of the Starship, and we damaged the immediate area surrounding the stand out there at Massey's.
The most likely root cause was identified as undetectable or under-screen damage to a composite overwrapped pressure vessel, or COPV, in Starship's payload bay section. To address this probable cause, we're operating the COPVs on Starship at a lower pressure and also implemented additional proofs and inspection methods.
Meanwhile, though, keep our launch schedule up, got to keep testing. The team was able to pivot and use the launch pad, the one we're on today, to do ship static fire tests. It was the first time we've ever done that. Doing that retrofit was the fastest path to get back to launch. Team was able to engineer a solution where we used a transport ring to mount the ship, routed a whole bunch of extra hoses and everything.
Let's go ahead and check. We're gonna check
They knocked that out in just a matter of weeks, where we had 2 static fires.
Let me check our boy real quick. There's still 15 minutes. I like his commentary a little bit better, to be honest.
Keep our launch schedule up.
And he's got the side-by-sides.
The team was able
That's what's up.
to pivot and use the launch pad, the one we're on today, to do ship static fire tests.
The audio is much more clean too. Jesus.
Doing that retrofit was the fastest path to get back to launch. Team was able to engineer a solution where we used a transport ring to mount the ship, routed a whole bunch of extra hoses and everything to load propellants. They knocked that out in just a matter of weeks, where we had 2 static fires on the orbital mount.
Yeah, very impressive turnaround there, getting to these static fires. These static fires gave us the data we needed to progress to launch and are a prime example of our engineer and technician teams working to build creative solutions to keep us charging forward to eventually bring Starship online.
And even while doing all of this, we're in the process of rebuilding the test stand out at Massey's to get ready for the next generation of Starship, version 3. So right now, though, we are still on track. We're looking about 14 minutes away. Again, our T0 is at 6:59 p.m. Central. While we still have a
3
couple
minutes
of moments, though,
is kind of
let's
the
toss
sweet
it
spot.
over to Chris, who's getting ready to watch the launch out in California. How's it going, Chris?
At the diner.
Hey,
that's
Dan and
crazy.
Amanda, it's going great.
Yes.
And welcome everyone to the Tesla Diner here in Hollywood, California.
That is so cool.
For the first ever public showing of a SpaceX webcast, it's been great to see the webcast up here on the big screens at the diner. You know, throughout the afternoon,
Why
we've
not?
had members of the public coming up,
I would.
mixing and mingling, enjoying some of the food, getting to watch some old science fiction, but also getting to watch and keep up to date with what's happening here for Starship's 10th test flight. I think I can speak for everyone here when I say we're really looking forward to the epic views that we're going to get from in space and during atmospheric reentry, all thanks
Lex
to Starlink.
Friedman. What?
And speaking of Starlink,
wait a
that's
second.
actually how we're coming to you live from the diner.
Oh, no
one of
shit,
those
dude.
Many
Look, I
reliable connections that Starlink
Here.
is able to put
Look at
down
that.
across the
Lex
Earth
Friedman,
and in low Earth
$100.
orbit.
Good
So for a
call,
little bit more
bro.
information on the immediate future of the Starlink constellation, let's head on over to Hawthorne, where my colleague Tyler Lionquist is standing by. Tyler, how's it going there? And are you ready to see a rocket launch today?
How do I get out of this?
We are definitely ready for a Starship launch here in Hawthorne. Hi everyone, my name is Tyler Lionquist and I'm a Starlink business analyst here at SpaceX. Starlink is SpaceX's low Earth orbit high-speed internet that's bringing connectivity to places where you least expect it, including in space. For today's mission, Starship is outfitted with 4 Starlink terminals, allowing us to get live views of ship while in orbit and all the way down to splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Starlink satellites are built in Redmond, Washington, and that's also where we monitor the health of our entire constellation. So let's take a quick look for more on Redmond.
Been a lot of little behind the scenes
what a lot of
little
people
clips
might
here.
not realize when they think about the scale that we're operating is
We
that
actually should maybe mute this in case it has copyright music. Actually, sadly, I'm sure they'll post this video separately somewhere if you want to watch, and we'll get good visuals here of the Starlink factory, which is pretty crazy. I mean, it is. I was saying earlier, they're basically printing money right now with Starlink, since it's a revenue-generating thing, which is something that no other rocket company I think has ever successfully done, just like being able to have their own revenue stream. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Which
I'm
is
about to head
a fancy
outside
way
here
of
pretty soon,
describing
probably
an
about
antenna that's made up of many little antennas that work together in order to direct their energy to a specific spot on the ground without a motor.
Generally, satellite manufacturing is a very slow process. It takes people weeks or months to build a satellite. At SpaceX, we iterate very fast, and we have learned how to build satellites at the 70 sats a week rate. As we have focused a lot on production rate, we have not forgotten about our satellite reliability, which is critical to our mission.
If you look at the whole world and you ask, where is the satellite industry? It's right here in the USA, in Redmond, where the vast majority of satellites being built are being built right here. Starlink is a truly game-changing technology, and it's all supported by the global satellite constellation from this space here in Redmond. And we're really just getting started at the very beginning of what we want to do with Starlink.
Now, as we mentioned earlier in the show, one of today's objectives is for SHIP to deploy Starlink simulator satellites that represent the advanced V3 satellites Starship will be launching in the future. And as you can see here, once Starship reaches a nominal orbit, the payload door will slowly begin to open to prepare for deployment. The Starlink satellites will be dispatched relatively quickly, one at a time, very much like a Pez dispenser. They'll be situated in one long stack, taking up as little space as possible, allowing for an efficient deployment sequence. And once a set of Starlinks is deployed, the next set advances and deploys until they are all drifting away from Starship to prepare for their on-orbit life. Each Starlink V3 launch on Starship is planned to add 60 terabits per second of capacity to the Starlink network. That's more than 20 times the capacity added with every V2 mini launch on Falcon 9. So we're talking about a massive increase in performance all around, which will ultimately enable Starlink to serve as the communications backbone of the missions to the moon and to Mars. But for now, we're going to turn it back over to the team at Starbase. Hey, Dan and Amanda.
Hey, thanks, Taylor. So, quick update for everybody. So weather is still the main thing that we're watching. We are currently red on the range, hoping to clear that anvil rule any moment now. That's really the only thing blocking us at the moment. Vehicle's good, pads ready to go. All of our checkouts have been really smooth today after that repair work that we did this morning after we had to abort out yesterday. So we're looking at the weather. That's the thing we're really paying attention to right now.
Meanwhile, prop load is still ongoing. We started loading prop at about T-minus 53 minutes, beginning with ship fuel, ship blocks, booster fuel, and finally booster locks began loading at about T-minus 35. We'll continue loading prop until just about 3 minutes before liftoff, and ship will conclude first, and then 30 seconds later, booster will finish up.
Yeah, so bottom line, we're looking great in the vehicle. We're looking really good on the range. We're just really watching that weather. So we're still waiting to hear that that's clear. That's the only thing that could potentially stop us today.
Okay, now let's talk about Mars, since everything we do is part of our foundational mission to get to the red planet. Each Starship launch is to learn more and more about what's needed to make life multiplanetary and to improve SHIP to the point where it's eventually taking millions of people to Mars.
That's right. We're looking ahead to begin sending the first Starships to Mars next year. These initial ones are going to go without humans. They're just going to put minimally viable landers on the surface, land right on the skirt, no legs. This will just help prove we can actually get to Mars, focus on learning just as much as humanly possible, demonstrating what's needed for Mars transit and the ultimate landing.
7 minutes. Let's do
Then during our next window from 2028 to 2029, we'll attempt to land the initial infrastructure and start delivering more equipment while evaluating available resources on the planet. And we'll also have Optimus on board for the ride, designed to do the initial heavy lifting.
Beyond that, by 2030, 2031, as these windows open up roughly every 26 months, we'll continue to increase the amount of payload we're sending on each ship as we're building out more infrastructure, mining resources, generating propellant for ships to come back from Mars. By 2033, we want to double the amount of payload per ship as we just get closer and closer to building a self-sustaining presence on the red planet.
Yeah, very exciting missions ahead, and these first missions to Mars are going to be crucial to setting up what we'll need for humans to eventually inhabit the planet, and we won't be doing this alone. The Italian Space Agency and SpaceX recently signed a first-of-its-kind agreement to carry Italian experiments on the first Starship missions to deliver customer payloads to Mars. These payloads will include a plant growth experiment, a weather monitoring station, and a radiation sensor to gather scientific data during Starship's approximately 6-month interplanetary coast phase from Earth to Mars and also on the Martian surface.
It's a really exciting vision. To make it happen, we're going to need to launch a whole lot more. We're going to need a whole lot of people that are going to come and help us build this. So it makes it really fun for me to come to work. I know you build these things.
100%.
It's got to be fun for you.
Yep, very exciting.
All right.
Looks like we're about 5 minutes from Starship's 10th flight test. Range is still looking good. Still have an eye on the weather at the moment. And prop load is also continuing on both stages of Starship.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up real quick. So we are we're almost closed out on the booster. We're about 90% on fuel, about 90% on LOX, just a bit below. So again, we're going to continue filling for about the next 2 minutes. Once we're completely done with that, we have about 11 million pounds of liquid propellant on board those 2 stages of Starship. So a lot of propellant to move really big rockets really fast away from South Texas. So once we get close, all of our ground systems will prepare themselves. They do what's called pushbacks. They'll clear out all of those feed lines, push back into the prop farm, and just prepare the area around it. We're doing our final guidance and navigation checks right now. The automated flight safety system is about to get armed. We're just really preparing the vehicle to get ready to go. I'm not sure if we passed it already, but we do a final thrust vector control checkout. The TVC will wiggle the engines that we use to actually steer the rocket itself. Everybody's favorite topic, if we need to hold, that hold would come at T-minus 40 seconds. We can hold if we're still waiting for the weather to clear, which is our big item today, or if any other last-minute issues pop up. We'll only hold there if we have an issue. Still waiting to hear confirmation that the weather has cleared. That's the only thing it looks like would hold us today. There's the business end of a Super Heavy.
Now, once we pass that T-minus 40-second mark that Dan was talking about, a number of events are going to occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems come up to flight pressure, and ship will switch over to internal power. After that, the quick disconnect arm lockout is removed in preparation for retraction, which occurs shortly after T0. And once we pass that T-minus 40-second mark, we do still have the ability to then recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds and hold there to assess what happened, and if we can proceed again, back to liftoff.
Yeah, we hope that doesn't happen, but it has previously. I promise not to psych anybody this time. We do have some kind of points of no return.
Let's go.
Once the water starts flowing out of that flame deflector under the launch mount, that happens just a little after T-minus 10 seconds. If that triggers and then we hit a hold, that would be a scrub for the day. We have to refill the water tanks, can't turn it off, got to refill prop, all that stuff. So that's kind of the major watch item. You'll see a big splash under the launch mount, and if we see that go and then you hear a hold, that would mean that we're done for the day. But not.
No, I don't like the pauses. Why are you pausing? Oh.
And yeah, I didn't disappear. Sorry, everybody. Listening in as the flight director for today is going through some of the final checks. We are still red on the range for weather. We are closing out prop load right now, though.
Yeah, as we wait and hear what's going on, we can just quickly review some of the test objectives for today. On the booster side, we're of course hoping for all 33 of those Raptor engines to power our ascent ahead of hot staging.
They're going to scrub it.
And once that stage separation occurs, booster will perform that directional flip before the boost back burn. One of the interesting experiments we're doing today is upon our landing burn, which typically ends with those 3 center engines lit. We're going to be intentionally shutting one of those off and instead lighting one from the middle 10 ring. And this is just to kind of give us an idea of what it would look like if we ever had an engine out scenario.
Yeah, using our time to really push the envelope. And so at this point, we are fully closed out on our prop load. Coming up on a minute and 20, we are still red on the range for weather. So at this rate, looking likely we will hold at T-minus 40 to see if we can clear that anvil cloud roll. That's the one blocker we currently have to a launch today.
Little tab. And then just seat it.
All right, and we
so that the
did just get confirmation, so we are expecting to hold at T-minus 40. We are still red on the range for weather, so look for the clock to pause in just a couple seconds. And pause. So we'll hang out here for a couple of minutes. We do have until the end of the window. We won't have 30 minutes of hold time to hang out, as we can't, we're essentially not replenishing prop on the vehicle at this point, so we have to keep a close eye on things like temperatures inside the tanks. We can only hold for so many minutes before things start to warm up. Surprised it's hot in South Texas.
Yeah, while we're holding here at T-minus 40 seconds, we reviewed our test objectives for booster, but why don't we chat ship for a second? After stage separation, ship will continue onwards up through its ascent to the planned suborbital trajectory. Once it reaches there, we'll undergo SECO, or where the second stage shuts off its engines. We're hoping to deploy 8 dummy satellites today, which are modeled after Starlink V3. We're also planning to attempt a in-orbit burn, so we'll relight one of those Raptor engines while in space, and that will occur ahead of re-entry, where we'll also be testing multiple experiments, including missing tiles, metallic tiles, and intentionally loading those vehicles' flaps. And then hopefully we'll conclude today's test flight with a soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, definitely want to see a ship on the other side of the planet today. We did just get a quick update, so the range is fully green. Weather is still red. So we are still tracking a detached anvil rule, which essentially there's an anvil cloud that's too close to our launch site, and it needs to move further away. Until it moves further away, we can't lift off. So we are expecting an update in a couple of seconds, potentially. Again, we can hang out here for several minutes. We're not actively replenishing prop. And getting an update now.
Okay. This is what we're looking at.
And we're getting a weather update right now.
Right here. Right around here.
And team's looking at it. Again, we're just tracking this anvil rule still. It's our only blocker today. Range is green, vehicle is green. Weather is currently red.
Because it's right in there.
All right, and
that's crazy.
Sad voice coming in. We did just hear that we are still going to be red. So at this point, we are essentially transitioning this to be a wet dress. So wet dress is when we fully load prop on board the rocket. So we are going to see the clock probably start up again. But once they get down to 10 seconds, they're going to abort out, and then we will be done for the day. So
that's crazy.
Sad news, not going to launch today. Weather got in our way, but you can only control so much. Can't always control the weather. Can't control the weather. I wish we could control the weather. We're not there yet.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? So we are seeing the clock rolling, but again, we're going to get down to T-minus 10 seconds, and we're going to see that kick back out, and then we're going to start offloading all of the propellant that's on board the rocket today. So if you are just tuning in, yeah, it's not going. There it goes. Back to T-minus 40. So again, we essentially turned today into a wet dress, so today still ended up being a test.
Still learning something, as always.
Yeah, still learning something. We were able to fix the issue that kind of bit us yesterday, where we had a leaky hose that was feeding liquid oxygen into the ship, but we were able to fix that, but weather got us today. So no launch today. We do have a phenomenal logistics team, though, so we should hopefully be able to replenish prop, everything. We don't have to refill all the water tanks because we didn't fire off the deflector, but we'll have to reload the prop. So very good chance that we can try again tomorrow. We'll obviously update everybody online. And, yeah, man, sorry, we couldn't go today. Don't worry, we'll probably go tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you when we do. go for launch.
So obviously, follow our account on X at SpaceX. We'll share information as soon as it comes available. We'll also be updating the web at spacex.com. So thanks for joining us today. Exciting countdown. Weren't able to get off the ground, but we'll give it another shot tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
Wow. All right. They shut it down. That's okay. No flight today. I blame the bitch ass cloud. I seen it. I fucking scoped his entire existence, and I disagree. I disagree with you, and I disagree with the fact that it happened. I was gonna stream yesterday, but it seems scrubbable, so I didn't. God damn it! Let me go check. Let me go check what's going on with my YouTube congregation. You know, see what they're doing. Okay. Yeah, big scrub.
Operations, and each operation is connected to a precise time index on that countdown. So while we were disappointed that he said it's going to stop at 10 seconds, the rocket was very, very busy doing all sorts of things in those 30 seconds. And it looks like that countdown went out just fine, and they called it because of weather, which is a really good prognosis for the next attempt, which is hopefully going to be tomorrow, because there wasn't any issue with the ground support equipment, and they're going to recycle the fuel, and then they should be ready for another attempt tomorrow. So let me do a few more of your questions, because like I said, we appreciate this so much. Thank you so much. Okay, we have Gloob G. Thank you so much for your super chat. Great to see the launch on your channel. I love the positive energy and in-depth explanation.
All right, I'm back. And yeah, like I said, bummer that this is the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to say other than sorry you guys didn't get to see a rocket launch. Sorry that time's been spent, but the wet dress rehearsal aspect's good for us too, because we have gremlins, as you're seeing, and it's just crazy how, like, again, I have a video that we are filming kind of behind the scenes of our system, and you'll see the work that's gone into it. And just to know, like, we fire it up after it's kind of been dormant for a few months, and just things like dual firewalls. I mean, like literally server grade firewalls. I reseeded the RAM today, and that seems to have fixed them. We have not re-implemented them back into the network. That's debatably not smart, just since they just failed. So I don't know. Weird that both of them had their RAM suddenly decide we don't like their RAM installed. But, you know, yeah, that's pretty much all we have today. I had a lot of super chats, so incredibly generous. Excuse me. Burping. Incredibly generous things. Oh, like this from Gil, dedicated to my newborn son Lucas Rocky. That is awesome. Congratulations, Gil, and to your family. Man. That's fantastic. Congrats. Everyone say welcome, and that is really cool. I appreciate that. John Malone, thank you so much just for saying hi.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little upset.
Yeah,
I really want to see that launch, but
Hans saying love your channel,
we should be
love
going
the
out
merch.
tomorrow.
Thank you so much. That's a good little reminder. If you want to
There's just some daylight
support
out,
the work we do here, help us fight gremlins, you can head on over to everydayastronaut.com/shop and pick up something. One thing that's really fun to pick up is we actually did include new youth shirts. So we actually have, orbital velocity tees in youth sizes again. It's been a long time since we actually had kids apparel.
I'm checking this
that's
weather
new
tomorrow.
in stock. So we actually have
promise
new
you. Actually,
pointy
I'm
end
gonna put fucking
pointy end up,
Boku's
flaming
Go on my phone.
rocket orientation youth shirts, and in the baby clothes like
Well,
this
let's
and
check
stuff
what-
too. So if you want to support the work we do here, every
Since
day
we're
on
on it, let's check tomorrow.
/shop. Pick up stuff before we do runs of stuff, and a lot of the stuff we have is on its way out and or selling out, like the rockets. So get it while you can. everydayastronaut.com/shop. Today I did the whatever I'm wearing is what we throw up on a discount. So 15% off of the Hypergolic shirt, which is that one's use coupon code launch day, all one word, all lowercase. Thank you guys so much for watching with us. But I think this is gonna be it for me, guys. The weather scrub stuff is done.
No.
And unfortunately, that you do lose commodities when.
No. Oh my God, dude. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on. Pause. Okay, get out of here. Look at this. We have partly cloudy and humid today. 94 degrees. Wind gusts 21 miles per hour. Cloud cover 49. Look at this. Tuesday, thunderstorms. Wednesday, thunderstorms. I think that's their last day. I don't think that they have another day after Wednesday. If I remember correctly, I don't. Oh no. I don't think they can go up in rain. No, it just wouldn't make sense. There's no way that they would do that. I mean, I know it's just a forecast, but let's just see what's going on here. Oh. Tomorrow. Partly cloudy. Okay. 9 a.m. That said it was in the afternoon. No, that's literally exactly when they fucking need to go up. No. Well, is this 7 p.m. my time or 7 p.m. their time? Whatever. Thunderstorms in general are not fucking hype. I'm looking at the weather like I'm a rocket scientist. Like I know what the fuck they're looking at. I don't know. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for today, tomorrow, or the next day. It's kind of a shame. It just goes up 25%, 50, 80, 80, down to 6. Okay. All right. Well. All right. Well, that's a day 2 Starship stream. I tried really hard. I even crossed my fingers and wished. Still nothing. It's crazy. So I don't know. I think I'll probably keep streaming. But, obviously just transition into something else. All right, that was kind of lame. I just left for a while, but I'm gonna stop stream and I'll come back. Probably do a little gaming for the day. All right. Well, tomorrow we'll see Starship go up. Go Starship. Go Starlink.